My name is Elysabeth Alfano, your host of The Dinner Party. When celebs can't make the filming of my live roundtable TV talk show, I take the dinner party to them. Hydrating in style over Voss water, and with the help of my friends at Stobe Cookware and Wants Us Tequila, actors Curtis Armstrong and Joel Murray join me on the dinner party at the Sunset Marquis.
The word nerd appears in Newsweek magazine, which was doing an article on the jazz sort of hip community in Detroit, Michigan. And nerd had become a popular catchphrase in Detroit, downtown Detroit, for someone who was square. Or, in their word, spaz.
Spaz is a bad word.
Spaz is a bad word.
I remember
But
this.
what they did is, instead of using spaz, they used nerd. I was born in Detroit the next year. So when I was actually born in the city that coined the phrase that I would ultimately be known for. How about that?
Uncanny.
Yeah.
Uncanny.
It's as uncanny as I could manage.
You were born to play this role, you
Apparently,
see?
yeah.
Well, do you have any words of advice for aspiring actors hoping to be typecast for an entire life of acting?
I don't. I really don't. I mean, I think
I'm
about
that
it.
same way. Why give them any advice whatsoever? They're just coming for our jobs.
Exactly.
Screw them. Let them
Exactly.
figure it out
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, we had to figure it out.
Yeah, nobody
what are we
gave us
handing
any
it?
advice.
Absolutely, the hell with them.
Nobody told you to pull the nerd sword out of some brick in Detroit, you
Right.
know, and the way you did years after your birth. You know, nobody gave you that. You just did it.
I
You
had
went
to
out and
find
did
that
it.
myself.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I always say you've got to do the work. Do the work, Don. I said on Mad Men, but I used to improvise 6 nights a week and hitchhike out to a house I was painting in Oak Brook, Illinois. And if you look at the spot I used to hitchhike at 2, 3 in the morning, people are like, "No way!" No, I used to hitchhike right there between the on-ramp and the highway, so people could stop for me, and hitchhike out there, and then come back, wake up soaking wet, sweating on the 3rd floor, paint for a few hours, and then hitchhike back into Chicago and improvise for free again. We had like one gig where we made maybe $14 or something like that, but did it every night. And you know, the Outliers, you're familiar with that book? You have to put in like 10,000 hours
10,000
or something.
hours, yeah.
And today's kids, they think, well, if I pay for this class at UCB and I get to level 7, then I should then go to a sitcom.
Wait a minute.
It's like,
Level
no.
7, that's Scientology.
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, right. When you're clear, you should get a sitcom. And somehow that works.
It actually does.
But I think people are missing it. The amount of work you got to do to get certain chops to be in comedy, at least. I don't know.
Well, I think it's true of everything. I think it's
Stage time, I always say. It's all about stage time.
Yeah.
There's no way around the work. You were saying when we were walking into the Sunset Marquis that Brian, so I think people probably most know you for your brother Bill, but also Brian, who wrote Caddyshack and many other movies, he has a nice history with the Sunset Marquis.
Oh, this used to be Brian's favorite hotel. He used to stay here quite a bit, and I think he and Harold Ramis wrote some of Club Paradise here,
Oh my gosh.
and it was a very cool place to stay in the late '80s.
Still is.
Still is, and well, it's back again. And I stayed here when I came out when I worked on Scrooged, and I had some Second City buddies that showed up at my hotel room that night and drank everything in my mini fridge, just the way you do to your buddies doing well that day. So you drain him for like $550 or something like that.
Of peanuts, basically.
But it was always a cool hotel, and that little bar in the lobby was the Whiskey right after that. And it was this place where rock stars and George Clooney and all these people used to hang out. And it was, you know, the bar was as long as from you to me, and it would spill out into the lobby. And I think a lot of the guests didn't appreciate it, but it was a hipster spot to be for a while. The key rooms were to get the ones that faced the pool, because there was rock stars' girlfriends at the pool.
Much better than rock stars. Rock
Yeah,
stars'
well, much better.
girlfriends.
You don't want to rock stars in bathing
They come and
suits.
go, but
Don't
the
look as good.
girlfriends.
Well, speaking of girlfriends, I'll just say
Wait a
that
minute.
Wait a
you've
minute.
been married for 22 years, Curtis, and you've been married, Joel, for 27.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you two, I didn't think I'd be asking for marriage advice here, but I'd like to ask you two, what is the secret to longevity in your marriage?
I always say, just admit it. You're wrong.
And stupid.
It'll just save time. You're wrong, and you're sorry.
And you're not very bright.
I had a senile guy who used to live across from my old house. Just great guy, and he was always doing yard work, and he'd come over and he'd tell the exact same story every time. You know, I always get the last word in my house. Yes, dear. And he would walk across the street and come back like 7 minutes later. You know, I always get the last word in my house. Yes, dear. I'm like, you know, that works for you. But it was solid advice from a guy that had, you know, a mental capacity of an inch and a half. But
Yes.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me today, and cheers on bringing you back together.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you so much.
somebody had more of their drink than others.
Might that be you, Joel?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
going
well.
to.
All right, dinner party, take one.
God, Almighty, that was really
We
loud.
tried to warn you.
25th anniversary screening of One Crazy Summer at Cinephilia.
Cinephilia.
Cinephilia. It's like
kinda
it's
touchy.
that's not where you.
That could go wrong in a million ways.
All right, dinner party, take three.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, people, and I'll start talking Cheetos. All
She's
your
20.
kids are older, so
Yeah.
still in college.
Yeah, still in college.
Do you still
Do
have
you just
kids in
have the
college?
one?
I have one.
I have 4. So if you need an extra.
Yes, I was married for 7 years originally. Very amicable divorce. And
Do you have
then-
any advice on how to get rid of a wife?
Well,
This will not go well for you, Joel.
yeah.
Mother of Jesus, take 5. Here we go.